Guys, welcome back to another look back at one of my pre-YouTube builds of the Revell Porsche 914-6. This version of the kit is a re-release of an old tooling. So let's take a look at the history of this kit. Guys, now this is the box art of the particular kit that I have. So let's take a look back and see how far back this kit goes. This was released, let's see if we can find a date here. This is Revell number 854378 in 1/25th scale. And this was a 2-in-1 kit that allowed you to build a race version or the stock version of the car. Now this kit was released in, let's see if we can see a date here. Oh, this was a 2015 reboxing, which included new decals on the old Porsche 914 kit. So let's see what the lineage of this kit is. If we take a look here, we can see that this kit was first released as a new tool back in 1972. So as you can tell by the time we get to mine, because it was reissued in 1973 in a new box, which is a very nice picture in the new box in 1973 of the real car. That's some pretty nice box right there. And then it was released again in 1988. Actually, in 1974, it was released here as a 914-6, which shows the racing version on the box. And then in 1979, it was released again as a Porsche 914 under the Advent name. I've never even heard of Advent. The 1974 version was released for Revell of Japan. Between 72 and 73, there was another version from Revell Lodella. I don't even know what that is. Never heard of that before. But under the Revell name itself, it was released in 1972, 1973, 1988, where it received another new boxing. We have a nice red version of the car. And then between 1988 and 2015, it was, sorry about that. It was released again in another new box. Finally ending in 2015 with my version of the car, where they included new decals. Now that's under the regular Revell boxing. And now if we go back and we look under the Revell of Japan, as a matter of fact, those are the only ones that were released apart from the regular Revell. So this is a kit that has its beginnings in 1972 and has been reboxed multiple times in its history. Let's see, you can focus there. Ending in 2015, which is the version that I have. And it is a kit that does show its age, as there was quite a bit of fitment issues, especially around the windshield and the tail lights and the rear of the car. We'll go over that as we go along. Here you can see the body that I've gotten primer already, getting ready for paint. And overall, the body proportions are done very well, and the engravings and the panel lines are also done very well. So there's not really a problem with that. The chrome, on the other hand, is something I really wasn't too happy with, as it looked very toy-like and just didn't have the appearance that I wanted. So I soaked it in bleach, and then a few minutes later, boom, no more chrome. Now surprisingly, this kit had quite a few parts to it, so it wasn't light on parts, and the detailing really wasn't too bad either. It did contain a full engine and transmission, so it wasn't a curbside kit, which was detailed pretty well. The carbs I think could have been done a little bit better, but not too bad. So after a little detail painting, some panel lining, and adding some spark plug wires, it really didn't look too bad. The underside of the engine and transmission were also fairly detailed. The rear suspension is represented by two rudimentary shocks. You have your axles there, so it had quite a bit of detailing underneath that could be done and made to look pretty nice. Now the rear of the car is the same color as the body, so you can see here where I've painted the entire trunk area in the Tamiya metallic orange. Now it's time to put some color on the body. So I have the body painted up and all the other body components all done in the same Tamiya metallic orange. I was somewhat surprised to see that it had a pretty nice pedal assembly, as 3 pedals attached to the firewall. After dechroming the wheels, I went over and added my own chrome with black trim. I used a multi chrome pen for that, and it looked much better than the original chrome trim that the wheels came with. After the full paint of the metallic orange, I then clear coated the car and then added the black trim for the roll bar that goes over the body of the car. Now the interior was a little bit of a odd duck, as it had one seat that was molded as part of the interior tub but had a separate headrest, and then a second seat that was molded separate from the interior tub. Don't know why they chose to do it this way, and the seats look a little odd because one is wider than the other. Just one of the weird quirks of this kit. The dashboard itself was fairly simple but representative of the car. I wanted to add seat belts, but I didn't have anything in the right color. So I went over to Hobby Lobby and I found this. These are leather straps that appeared to be very close to the size that I needed. So it gave me the nice brown colored seat belt that I was looking for. I then proceeded to make the buckles and all the attachment points out of styrene, and there I had my seat belts for both seats. Now, when assembling the rear end, it is in multiple parts, such as the engine cover, the firewall, and once you put them in, you notice that you really can't see the engine much anymore. Now, the engine compartment consists of 4 pieces: the 2 side panels, the engine compartment cover, and the firewall. Lining them up and getting them all to sit properly so that the engine cover opens and closes smoothly is not easy. This is one of the areas where there were quite a few fitment issues. Another area where there were fitment issues were with this part here that sits underneath the dash, as without modification the dashboard will not sit properly and allow you to mount the body where you're supposed to. You can see here where I had to shave off the top part of that piece in order to try and make the dash fit. This was kind of just a trial and error thing where you just kept shaving it down until you got the dash to fit just right. Once I got it shaved down to where I needed to, just a quick coat of paint, drop the dash on it, and you can barely tell once it's all together that there was any modification made. After that, it was all about just fitting the body to the chassis. Now there were quite a few fitment issues with the rear of the car, as the trunk lid does not sit flush where it's supposed to, but I guess you really can't expect too much with the age of this kit. After making a few adjustments and modifications, I got the trunk lid to sit almost totally flush. The taillights, on the other hand, were a little bit more of a hassle to get the fit right, as they wouldn't slide into their areas where they were supposed to, so I had to do a little bit of surgery to them, a little bit of shaving here and there, and I got them to fit pretty much where I wanted them to. Now, after doing all that work on the engine and adding the spark plug wires and details, I found out that you can't even really see it. That's kind of a bummer. Even with all the fitment issues, this comes together, and if you put the effort in, it turns into a pretty nice kit. One of my favorite parts of this kit is that the Porsche lettering on the engine cover is an actual decal that fit absolutely perfectly on the raised letters in the lid itself. When it was done, it took its place right next to all of my other affordable sports cars of the 70s and the 80s and just fit right in. That, to me, a metallic orange is one of my favorite colors, and I plan on using it over and over again. One cool feature is that it even bought the removable roof, which fits perfectly in the trunk when you're not using it. Now that's a nice little touch. Thanks for joining me on this look back on one of my older builds. I kind of like these videos where I get to look back and share these stuff with you that I haven't had on the channel before. So, if you like this, then give it a like and a subscribe, and tell me what kind of builds you guys have that you like to look back on. I'll see you on the next one.